became difficult. And also in 2016, something else had happened, and it caused me to lose all of my furniture in my home. I had to let go of everything. I was stripped down to nothing. Do y'all hear me? I was stripped down to nothing but one chair in my kitchen, not even a table. I didn't even have a table. I didn't have no chair for my babies to sit on. It was no such thing as a couch, living room, TV, none of that stuff. I was stripped down to nothing. But I saw the goodness in it, and the goodness in it was, well, at least I'm still in my home. At least I'm still in here where I can be warm and you know, not have to deal with anything. So I was left with only a chair and a twin-size bed, okay? So let me tell you something else. During 2016, because I couldn't walk, I developed a ulcer in my stomach and some bed sores that caused me to go into depression because I was like, God, this is not going to go away. It's just one thing after another. And then I remembered my teachings in Kiva and remember to get up and do something. Instead of using your pain, instead of waddling in pity and pain, create something great out of your pain. And so I created a podcast called My Plus Size Grandma. And we started releasing stuff on there, how I was feeling, how I was doing. And that podcast led to great opportunities of being on other programs, other people's shows. It led to opportunities of me working with different individuals, you know, just doing a whole lot of stuff. So 2017, the relationship gets worse, and I realized that we was not in a relationship. He told me we wasn't in a relationship. So now my emotions are destroyed, and I'm knocked back down. 2017, I'm sexually assaulted. So you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to go through all of that, but I'm just saying that if you don't learn how to control your emotions and challenge your attitude, and you don't learn how to get up and stop letting everything hold you down, this is life. Things are going to happen. Some things good, some things bad. But we always have a choice how we decide to look at those things that are happening. If I had looked at all that stuff that happened to me and I looked at it bad, I would not be here talking to y'all because it was bad. And I did deal with it. And how I dealt with it was I had to do self-medicating things. I had to put myself through therapy, my own therapy, because at that time I did not trust therapists. And so I started creating all kind of programs for myself to do, and I came up out of it. So that's how I was resilient year after year, crisis after crisis, situation after situation. I did not lay there and just have pity parties. I discovered that, you know, I'm actually good at what I do, and so I started doing it more. I started getting out more, helping other people, loving on other people. Okay? So how you respond to it with your attitude determines if you're going to be resilient or not, if you're going to be able to come through this. And that's what we want to do when we have a crisis. We want to be able to come through this with our mind. We want to be able to come through this with a sane mind and with a good heart, with good feelings. We know it's bad things that's going on and what we're going through, but we want to come through with God on our side. Amen? All right, so let me see here. Where am I at? So keep in mind that this boot camp is not to limit you. It's to show you that you can go past the limits that you have put on yourself. All right? Everything that you are fighting now is the result of what you went through back then. What you went through back then, the pain, you know, the dysfunctional family relationship. That it is the result of what you went through. Resilience is quality. It's a quality feature inside of you that many don't have. And the reason why they don't have it is because they never developed it. This is something that has to be developed over time. This is something that takes work. It takes you to be mentally focused. It takes you to be positive. It takes you to have faith in God to move on from one trauma to another and be healed. it takes you to have faith in God to go through these generational attitudes and behaviors. You ever catch yourself and realize that you're acting just like your mother, or you're acting just like your father, and you absolutely hated that behavior, how they were acting, but now you're doing it? Because some of this stuff that you're fighting is generational. It was put into you, and it's now just not manifesting itself, growing. It's now magnifying, and that's not who you want to be. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to do everything like they did. So resilience, it isn't rare. Everybody has it. Some just don't have that same fight spirit for themselves, that they have for others. Okay, so the first vocabulary word is, what is resilience? According to Site Central, resilience is when faced with a tragedy, natural disaster, health concern, relationship, work, or school program. Resilience is how well a person can adapt to the events in their life. How well are you adapting to the events in your life, things that you have went through in the last year? How well are you adapting to coronavirus? If we want to use, for an example, coronavirus. Coronavirus hit, and you found out who really was depressed. You found out who really had a dysfunctional family because they couldn't take staying at home with the family. But some people work with their way out of having to deal with that mouthy wife or that mouthy husband. Or what about the children, So how well you adapt to the events in your life determines if you are resilient, all right? A person with good resilience has the ability to bounce back more quickly and with less stress than someone whose resilience is less developed. So this is a question. I hope you're writing down the vocabulary word, and this is a question that you may want to write down as well. Why we don't all bounce back the same? We all are different. Because some people are undeveloped in some areas of their life. For example, the environments are different. You may have one family, that does not have all that dysfunction in it. And then, you got some people who didn't grow up in healthy environments. They grew up where there was no boundary set and there was violence. And then another thing is confidence level. Some people that don't have confidence in themselves to change because their environment limited them, shaped them, and trained their mind to be limited at everything they did. Trained your mind not to go no further than you can see. And you can't grow bigger than where you were. You can't get bigger than a certain person in the family. And so anger and resentment kicks in some people. And that's why they don't bounce back as good as others, because they rather hold a grudge and get sick off of that grudge than to say, okay, all right, so my family did me wrong, but you know what? I'm going to heal, and I'm going to create something. I'm going to turn my pain into something good. People who aren't resilient, they don't know what to turn their pain into, so most of the times they end up doing drugs. They end up, and it's not that they don't got the strength to get out here and do it. They don't have the knowledge and the skills to do it. They don't have the knowledge. We perish from the lack of knowledge, and that is one of the reasons why, some of the smartest people are behind bars. They're locked up. Do y'all see some of the stuff inmates be doing, the way they draw? They're artistic. Some of our smartest men and women are behind bars because they didn't know how to take that resilience that they have inside of them and develop it for something good. Instead, they developed it for a life of crime, which landed them behind bars. So that just goes to show you that, when we're in environments that are dysfunctional, it's hard to realize our full potential if we don't have a role model or some type of mentor, pushing us on the side, telling us, yes, you can do it. Just because that's where you came from don't mean that's where you got to always stay. Amen? All right, so another reason why some people have undeveloped resilience is because of their core beliefs. It's what you feel about yourself, core beliefs, negative thoughts toward yourself. What about the religions? Different religions, can make you feel so bad. You feel like God is going to get you for this, God is going to get you for that. Well, that's what they said, but they're interpreting the Bible in their own way in order to get what they need you to do, in order to get that control and power over you. And so sometimes the religion can be a hinder, a downfall for you when you have not studied and showed yourself approved. The value, how you value yourself and how you value others can be part of the reason why you are not resilient, why you can't get back up after a crisis, And again, in your core beliefs, these are some of the negative thought patterns right here that you may have, that you have been telling yourself. And I'm not saying anybody on here is like that, but I'm saying this is, this is the foundation of why some people are not resilient. Because they tell themselves, I'm inadequate. I don't matter. Others must come first or else God is going to get me. God is not going to approve me because I have sinned. I'm weak. I am not enough. I'm pathetic. Just having really negative thoughts toward yourself. And then another core belief that people believe is how they see themselves. How you see yourself may not be how others see you. And so they take this fundamental view of the world and other people and ourselves, and they end up viewing themselves as someone negative. They view themselves as someone low, self-esteemed. Some of the most beautiful people in this world actually think they are ugly. And that's because of them core beliefs that they have about themselves that are usually hidden deep down and rooted in some type of trauma that happened, when they were younger. This is why you feel ugly about yourself, because somebody in your family used to tease and pick on you. Somebody in the school was teasing and picking on you when you was a child, and now it grew up in you. I'm ugly. I don't like the way my butt is shaped. Because my thighs don't look like yours, I must not be no count. They must not be pretty. They must not be fit for me to walk with. People come up with all kind of crazy stuff, and they believe it. I used to be one of those people, too, who used to believe everything that people told me. Yeah, I would fuss back, but when I get home, it'd be soaked into me that I had a pie face. So I did not like taking pictures because people was always saying, oh, you're pretty, but you're fat. And that hurt me so bad. And I did not know how to take that root out for years. I was a grown woman. As a matter of fact, I was probably like 40 years old before I realized, hey, wait a minute. You're beautiful just the way you are. This is how God made you. You get up each day and you live your life. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Whenever you're going through these crises, you have to know that just because you stop living after that crisis, life is still going to go on. So you got to get up and continue to be present in life. And stop believing everything that you hear others say about you. And one thing that I found is people that are not resilient, they have a deep level of belief where they believe everything that I just said is true. They believe it. And that level, it hurts them so bad because they never really reach their full potential. Emotionally and mentally, they are stuck. They are hurt people. They don't realize that it's nothing that they did. It's something that others did to them, and they don't understand. You don't have to punish yourself because of what someone else did to you. So people not getting back up after a crisis, it's because they don't change the tune that was playing in their head from when they were children. Until you get up and change that tune that is playing in your head, you will always find yourself in pain, emotional pain, which leads to physical sickness. They never thought outside of the box. You have to think outside of the box in order to develop your emotional resilience. by doing something different, learning something different, meeting new people, getting outside of your tradition, get outside of your culture, get outside of your